Good morning and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to be working with double-sided adhesive with the ScanNCut. So those of you that were on the SCAL workshop on Saturday, had to think then, will recognise this design as the one we were going to put on a t-shirt, but I thought I'd do it a little bit different today and give my ScanNCut a little push because I haven't exactly been pushing it out of its comfort zone recently. So first of all, before I go too far, do you want to do hellos, Ian?
Yeah, so we have Louise, Linda and Deb.
Hi Louise, Linda and Deb.
So far.
And don't be afraid to say hi if you're watching in the background. So, I've pulled together most of the things I need for this project. So I've got a little bit of... Hi Maggie! I've got a little bit of transfer tape. I've got some black card, I've got some inks, and I've got a little bit of foil. Now the foil does not need to be a heat one, so any foil will do.
Sheila and Delcy.
Hello Sheila and Delcy.
Thea, Ellen, Marion.
Oh, quite a list. Okay. Now, what I've done before we went live is I've just prepped a piece of white card. So it doesn't have to be expensive white card, but I've applied double-sided adhesive to both sides of the card. So hence we're using the extra tape to hold it in place, because obviously the backing of our double-sided is shiny. So if you're going to work with sheets, you'll probably find that it will stick better, but this is off a roll. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why it's looking so dark, because the lights are on.
Okay.
It's just coming up really dark, which is really weird. Even on your phone it's dark.
That's what I mean, yeah. Oh.
But it looks dark for this one too. It's very annoying. Anyway. So first of all, I'm going to go to retrieve data. And because you've worked with SCAL, it's going to be saved to USB. And then we just need to find our file. Nope, it's there and it hasn't done it. Oh, it has. That's okay. Give me EBGBs then, it didn't show. Right. So I have two layers in this file. I only want to cut one at a time, but that's okay. So what I can do is just delete the bigger one of the two. So I'm going to go into edit, and we can actually cycle through the two layers. So the bigger one we're going to get rid of, and then we've got our thinner one that we can still reposition. So before I go too far, I'm going to do a background scan, and that's so I can make sure I can place my design in that space. So let's load the map. Okay, so you can roughly see where our tape is, but I'm just going to make it a little bit darker so it's easier for you to see it. So if we go into our spanner, we can then make our background scan darker. Hi Mum! And I'm going to bring it in, and it doesn't matter whether we go up towards the top or in the middle for this bit of card. Hi Sally!
And it's snowing in Scotland.
I think it's snowing in quite a few places. Just not here. Okay. So because we've got two lots of double-sided adhesive on our card, I'm going to go to my standard blade rather than the vinyl. hoping that it's going to be able to punch all the way through. I'm going to give it another press round just to make absolutely certain it's not going to try and release itself. So remember that although our purple tape is stuck to our mat, it's still going to have a tendency to lift off that backing.
Louise says no snow here. Sally says we are covered with snow. And Joyce says it's snowing in Northern Ireland too. Well,
okay. So I'm going to go OK. I'm going to go to cut. And there's our design ready to go. I am going to reduce my speed down to 1, because if you want to think about speed as your sort of lateral pressure, so we don't want to be pushing it too much, otherwise we may push it off the mat, so we want to keep it there. Okay, half cut is off, so we can go start. Okay, just going to try and do it in one pass by the looks of it. Any questions?
Deb says just rain and more rain in Portsmouth today. Check what it's doing here at the moment. I can't see out the window because the blinds do.
It's been raining overnight, but it had stopped.
Yeah, it's dry here at the moment. I looked at it. No snow.
So I'm trying to help it stay on the mat just because of that shiny release paper. So you've still got a few days to enter the competition, which is your technique manual cover.
Sarah Lou says morning.
Morning.
And Tracy says she's got the notification. And morning to you as well.
So for those of you that are late joining, we're making one of the designs from the SCAL workshop at the weekend. But instead of doing it in vinyl, I'm doing it out of card, and I've applied double-sided adhesive to both the top and the bottom of the card, which is what I'm having to give it a little extra helping hand.
Maggie's just asked where do you get your double-sided adhesive card from, but it's what we've created, isn't it, rather than...
Yeah, and the adhesive roll is by Wild Spider.
Snow in County Kerry. Ireland, obviously, it's Northern Ireland it's snow, and County Kerry in Ireland it's not.
Now the other thing that I need to say is you'll notice that I'm only cutting one layer at this time, and that's because if I was to put the black card on the mat at the same time, it would be obviously a lot thinner than this card, so potentially you would cut through your mat if it did this layer first and then the black one. Ooh.
Tracy can we have a look at the roll just to see if it's something I already have. Yeah.
I was going to say you were going to have to do that one, because even with me guiding this I can still feel it's trying to lift and be naughty.
So this is our double-sided. So this is what we've already attached to the front and the back of the card.
We're not doing too bad considering it's lifting occasionally.
One left after that.
Alright, okay. I'll bear that in mind because I want to do a grid card later this week as well. Yeah.
Morning, Sandra, as well.
You know, I did this one because I thought it'd be easier on my arm, but that's questionable at the moment. Yeah. Okay. So I want to be really gentle when I lift this off so that I can check that it's cut all the way through. So obviously it's gone through about 5 layers between the release papers, the 2 layers of adhesive and that original card. Okay. So the purple tape is quite sticky. If you're wondering why I went for that one rather than the low tack that I usually use. Now I'm going to leave that one attached just so I can have a hinge. Okay, hasn't quite got through. How far has it got? Ooh, we might be alright now. Because that might have just got through enough to get to that backing paper. So it's more like a sticker then. Because it's cut through places. Shall I go for it, Ian? Shall I be brave? So, if you can just about see how much that has gone through. So it hasn't cut all the way through, all the way round, but it's kept it in there enough that we can always release our adhesive paper and do our foiling. Or in other options we can use our transfer paper first. So I'm first of all going to weed out all these little bits, but while I'm doing that, let's pop on my other piece of card. So I'm just using some thin black card just to do the backing piece. So I'm going to go OK, go back home, back to retrieve data, back to the USB, and scroll back down through. It does make me laugh how it doesn't give the preview. We can go OK. So this one we know that we've already cut, so we can go edit and delete. Okay. Then I'm going to go and do another background scan so I can check that it's going to fit on my card. So background scan is a really good way of using up offcuts. Even if they're really oddly shaped, you can usually get something else out of them.
Someone does ask me a question. It's not related to what you do, it's something else.
So because it's black, I'm going to switch back to that lighter scan, because we can still clearly see our black outline and our little hole that we're trying to avoid. We can pop that into there. Now bear in mind this is thinner card, so you could at this point decide to switch out the standard blade for the vinyl if you have it, But I'm just going to leave that standard one in there and just let it get on with it for now. Okay. So while that's doing that, let's grab a pokey tool. And just to make life a little bit easier, I'm just going to try and take out these little centre sections.
Beatrice is as well.
Hello, Beatrice. So I would recommend doing this onto a cutting mat, just in case you do accidentally go through that backing paper with your pokey tool.
Other Tracy's this evening as well.
Hello.
We have both Tracy's in. Both on the street as well.
So we can see there we've got a little bit of a slip, so that may show when we put it onto our backing, but it won't be too bad. So again with this one, there's a little bit just there. So the way to tell if you have slipping is if it looks like your machine's out of alignment, basically, where your start and end points don't quite meet.
Tracy's got all the nice traces from Australia.
Okay. So I don't need to read anything out of a H, an M, an E, an S, a C, H, or an L.
Maggie said, is that a technical term, pokey tool? It is actually called a pokey tool, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was actually Dawn Bibby that started the pokey tool thing.
It's caught on there.
Yeah.
I think they're actually sold as pokey tools now, aren't they?
Certainly over here. Okay. So I'm just going around and just having a look at my release paper for this top section, because you'll be able to see if any bits of that adhesive was pulled. So there's some little bits just there, and you may just need to just touch up on those edges when we come to do our foiling. So here we go. Oh, looks like it hadn't quite got through in some places. Yeah, I think I might do. Just because, let's go, okay. Just to tidy it up. So, let's see if we can get this out with our transfer tape. So some transfer tapes are stickier than others, so I'm going to see if this one's sticky enough for it to do it. But they are not all created equal. So what I will do is I'm just going to could be one that you use your vinyl squeegee for. Or you can just cheat with whatever's to hand, like I am. So we'll see how it goes. It may or may not work. So I'm going to work from the back and gently try and peel this off. Come on. It's going. The main bit that you want to try and do this on is on the like A. So if that's not going to stick, you can take the mother separately. So let's do that, because that isn't quite sticky enough for what I need. So we're going to go to something a little bit stronger. So I'll just wait for my background to finish so that I can do that H. And I just noticed we've got a bit of slipping there, so I can always then edit that if need be. Okay, while I'm waiting, I'm just going to chop into this so I can sort out that H a little bit easier, so I don't have to worry about my other letters. So I'm going to loop that round to our cut line there. Don't have to cut all of it, you're just literally just doing those bits where it's slipped. Okay. So I'm just releasing this around this edge. And if you do get any of the backing paper to stick, sorry. Just try and get underneath that bit. There we go. So the quicker you can do this bit, the better in terms of time from cut to time of release, because it does like to re-stick itself back to itself. Make a good self-healing cutting mat in some ways.
Jason, you have to watch this one from the beginning again, 'cause it's a little confusing what you're trying to lift up and what will stay.
Okay, so what we're lifting out is we're lifting out the text. So all that's staying behind is the scrap card that we don't want. You're going to change my angle for me, are you, sweetie? Okay, and I'm still managed to miss a big bit of weeding. There we go. Let's take that out of there, make life a little easier. There we go. A little bit more. So this is a patience jobby. Lots of patience. And work your way around that adhesive. Because it's not that it hasn't cut, it's just that it's
Stuck to it.
Quite happy to stick back to itself after. So it's got sticky on the bottom, and then it's going to be sticky on top so we can apply our foil to it. And this is where it starts to get a little bit awkward, because there's more hanging off than what you've got left to go. So, nearly there. Last little bit. There we go. It's all attached. So, if we peel off our backing. Now I need my spatula. I'm just going to come underneath here. Now I know that I'm going to lose that little heart just there. That's okay. So take that bit out. Take out the other little tiny bits like so. Still didn't want to cut that bit. Okay. This is the fun bit.
Lining it back up.
Yep, lining it back up so that we can get things in the right place. And I'm going to work from the centre outwards, especially because of that H that slipped. So go for that biggest piece first, then we can go back through. Just going to try and get that little stringy bit of adhesive in there, because otherwise that will foil. Okay. So to start with, we're just going to lightly kind of position it so that we can make sure that we've got it in more or less the right place. So this bit needs to just push up a little bit, like so. Okay. And a bit of our M. Okay. Now what I am going to do is just give that a little press down. So if you're doing multicoloured foil design at this time, you could just peel that backing off and then do that area of colour. Now, given that this bit did not want to come off, I'm thinking, shall I go for the slow route in? Shall I try it? I'll start off with the like A and see how it go, I think.
It is black cardstock, and it's also white cardstock, and it has double-sided adhesive attached to both sides of it that we've added ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So this has pulled its backing with it, so I'm just going to need to release that so that I can stick it down. There we go. So, given that that L's upside down, I'm going to do it round that way, just so it's a little bit easier rather than trying to twist it on my poker tool. So, there's my L. Next is my I. So, let's get that out.
Individually cut out.
Yeah. The eye was nice and easy. So I'm just going to push that up a little bit at the bottom so it's level. Come on. My K's misbehaving. What's...
Shooter and style settings for cut is the same for black card.
Yes.
Yes. There you go. Didn't change it.
Didn't change. Because we've got the auto blade in the DX, you don't need to really change anything. And we were already going slowly and lightly because of using that adhesive and not wanting to push it off the mat.
What thickness card did you use?
The white card's probably about... Oh, the black. The black's only about 170, 180. It's not very thick. It's not thick card. Okay. So let's get this E in there. So
we want to get back to iron at some point, don't
yes.
we? We like that.
Yes, it's very very beautiful place to visit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were staying on the outskirts of Dublin, weren't we? But we travelled right from north to south and back again, didn't we? In a day. Okay, so there's my A.
Publishing days, isn't it?
Yeah, back when we were doing the other day job. Okay, so I'm just going to try and get this H out of here rather than using the tape, because I think the tape's going to complicate matters more than it needs to. There we go. Yeah, they don't overlap. Small point there. Can't mould what doesn't overlap.
That depends on your program.
Oh, it's welded as one group, but it's not going to cut in one piece. So yeah. So while I'm doing this, if there are any questions, even if they're not necessarily related to the project.
I'm just taking that out and remove it.
There you go. Don't need it now anyway. So I'll shut that up for a minute. Is that a bit easier?
That's better. If you're working directly. I've left it on camera for you, so you can look across if you want.
Okay. I got a naughty S. There we go. So the better your card is at staying together, the easier this technique will be. If you have a card that's prone to splitting into little layers, then it's probably not the right card to be doing this technique with. I had a bit of a blast from the past this morning on Facebook.
Did you?
Yeah. American Crafts have just launched a new planner range.
Yeah.
And it's all eco-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the journals in it has stone paper.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you remember when we saw that launch? That was cool.
Yeah. Sheila's asked, what setting do you use for delicate dyes like fairy wings?
Right, you're going to drop your pressure right down to -9 and your speed to 1. And if it's really, really delicate, like your fairy wings, you are going to find that investing in the vinyl blade is really worthwhile. Really, really worthwhile. It has a much finer blade on it, so it can handle the detail better than the standard one. Now, if I was doing this particular design out of anything else other than what I made it from, I would say swap to the vinyl blade, just because you've got lots of little letters. Okay, do a cheer. Now what we need to do is we need to peel off that top layer of release paper. So I think, just to make life a little easier, I'm going to do one bit at a time, even though I'm going to use the same foil. So let's take that off there. If it tears, it doesn't matter, it's only the backing paper. Now you're going to want to do one word at a time, so I wouldn't suggest doing, certainly where you've got this where it's going as a script.
Can the final blade be used in 900?
No.
No, because it's an auto blade. If you're doing detailed stuff with your 900,
You use the standard blade. To be honest, the vinyl blade has a lot in common with the standard blade from the CM. A lot. So.
Against slow and light is a good way to go, isn't it?
Oh yes. Yeah. So if you've read my book, you'll see that I say that pressure should be set by your design and not by your material.
Marion says this is amazing to watch, but way over make it.
It's only the material that I've done it in that's really any different. So if you cut this out of Muri instead, then you could do a similar effect. But I wanted to do it with foil because it's a good excuse to get out the special effects foil. So the one that I'm using is a glimmer foil, and has it got colour reference? That is a good question. Doesn't look like it has. It's GLF 032 in terms of product number, but it doesn't give it a name as such. It's like oil on water. So this one is a heat activated foil, but it doesn't need to be for this technique. It's just what it happens to be. So I'm just going to place that across there. Try and avoid getting wrinkles in this one if you can. If it does, it's not too much of a big deal, but then I'm just going to get my brayer on it, because my arm is still playing me up a bit, isn't it? So the whole point of today is it was supposed to be an easy one. For the arm, that is. Okay, so I'm just going to go around my finger to get any of the bits that might have wrinkled, any little slip blade marks. Yes. Yeah, it'll work with our foil, it will work with the nail art foils if you've got them wide enough for that T and the H. It will work with the foils that you can get from the works. So they do a little foil art kit that you can, I think it has about 9 or 10 rolls in it. Of different effects. Yeah, it does help, especially on days like today. So, come on, there we go.
Is there a name for this sort of technique, Nat, or?
What, with the foiling?
Yeah.
It's cold foiling rather than heat foiling.
Okay. Sandra asks, how's your dad doing after his first vaccine?
He had a couple of rough days. Mum didn't tell me how he was yesterday, so I'm sure Mum can answer that one better than I can. I've not seen him since. Okay, so if there's a little bit like this where you've missed a bit, you just go back over the top with a nail and just try and get it to release. If it still doesn't release, it may be that it's lost the tack, but we can repair that with a little bit of the quickie glue pen. So next little issue is going to be our T. So I'm just going to very gently move this around here. Now what you have to bear in mind is if you're thinking that it's sticking to the foil, is it does want to release off that backing. So don't panic, just take your time and just get the angle right, because sometimes it's just a matter of angle. So it's not a case of just whip it off. Patience is everything, because otherwise you can leave your adhesive still attached to your foil and not attached to your card. And if it really annoys you, you can go from the other end. It is beautiful foil. That's should I make my life a little bit easier and trim that down? I was hoping that I didn't have to, you see, because I am, well, yeah.
Who's that one by?
It's Spellbinders. Yeah, so if you want to find the details for it. Yeah.
You might give me a challenge, didn't you?
Oh yeah. There we go. So just going to go a bit gently on the end of this R, just so that it makes sure that it does actually release. There we go. Now whenever you're doing any type of cold foiling, sometimes you can find it leaves little bits behind. So if you look in the M and in the bit of the H, that's when you just need a bit of a stiff brush. So something like a bristle brush or one of the kids' paintbrushes. Get underneath it and just try and lift it up. So you're not pushing that foil back over itself, otherwise it does like to stick to itself. But you just get underneath it and flicking it away. And just do that H. There we go. And we can just tidy up any bits that have remained around those edges. So we get a nice neat finish. And let's get that E too. The centre's letters are a little bit more tricky. Okay. And a little bit in there. Let's see if I can sort out this M. So I've probably got this little patch just here. Let's see if we can bring in a fresh piece. So let's go for a corner. And just press on and see if it will adhere. So you can see it's pulled a little bit off around this edge, but it's still not pulled it out of this middle bit. So what I'm going to do is, have I got one in my stash over here? Or have I got to ask? Oh, I've got one. Yeah, quickie glue pen. So, what I'm going to try and do while that's doing that is do the rest of these letters, because you want to make sure that your glue is dry before you put your foil on it. So,
no, all the double-sided went on the white piece of card, so you put double-sided on both sides of the white card.
Yeah. Just try and get that little bit out of there. Probably being a little bit picky, to be honest, but that's me, isn't it? There we go. So, next bit. Let's do the like A. Is it? It's not the happy bunny today, is it? Come on, Mr. K. There we go. Now, because that E's a bit rocked up, we may have to do a bit of a touch-up job there too. But we'll see how we go. So we're doing all these layers as well. You're kind of creating that 3-dimension without having to do a lot of work.
I think the one you're working is called Prism.
Prism. It's very pretty because it shines all sorts of rainbow colours. making. It's a bit like the tech wrap vinyl that we were using last week, wasn't it? In terms of lots of colour shifting going on. But you can get like an all-on water one too, which would also work well for this technique. If the backing paper will come off. There we go. So again, I'm just going to do that a little bit. So colour up, and let's go for this corner here. And I'm going to
link that I just put up into the chat is the Amazon link to the foil that we're using when it gets there. There we go. It isn't an affiliate link, so it makes us a little bit of money. It doesn't make us a lot, does it?
No, but it makes us some, which is a good start.
It doesn't cost you any extra. They do like a referral fee per one for us, so it makes you a bit extra.
Okay. So just because that K is a bit naughty, I'm going to go from this end too. Come on, Mr. A. Make a good song, that. Make a good song, that. Mr. A. Okay. Yes, that's what I was meaning. Oh dear. So, let's get... So this one, because we've done that 2 layers on it, is just going to look a little bit more sort of crazed, which is cool. Which is why I try and say, try and do anything that has like an effect to it in one pass. Otherwise it will. Let's see if that's ready to go. Come on. You can tell you want to. Yeah, tiny, 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 tiny bit. Okay, now for the homeschool. What time am I on, Ian?
10 to.
Ah! I haven't stamped my card yet.
No.
So, with my card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp some brush strokes. So just in case I don't get to do that in time, because I'm aware that Lou will be going live at 12. Yep, let's do it 12:30. So don't really want to go any longer than my slot.
No, Leslie's days, it's Tuesday.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's because we had well, we didn't really have a day off yesterday, did we?
We tried to, but
We tried to, failed miserably. So, I was busy scrapbooking, wasn't I?
you were.
So, that'll be a project that you'll be seeing at some point this year. Not sure when.
Got to send it off first.
Yeah. Got to finish off the photos first. Any recommendations for a good laser printer? Oh,
Monochrome one.
good printer. Yeah. Because our laser printer, bless, is not a happy bunny. It can't calibrate. It can't see that we've put several new drivers on it now.
The driver, it's just not seeing the calibration's still not working.
Oh, you've managed to get yours to see the driver. I still can't get it to see the driver.
I think the drivers actually hasn't updated. It's the software that runs it that way. If that makes sense.
But bless, it's not a happy bunny, is it?
No.
And each time it prints, it's supposed to do like a calibration, which should take about all of 5 seconds. And instead at the moment it's taking 5 minutes and still failing at the end of it. So it's not good. It's not in a good place.
Is that an SP4 brayer or is that just a normal brayer?
This is just a normal brayer. The speedboard brayer is the other one I've got in the box. Well, it was in the box. The foamy one. Well, it's not foam, but I know what I mean. Yeah, by comparison. The one that I'm using is more like a lino printing brayer than a inking one. Both have their uses. Go that way. Come on. Nearly there. Let's get this S. Okay. So sometimes just using your nails is just going to help it release. And other times it just needs you to go and follow that curve. Now because that S is just lifted, I'm just going to pop a little bit of quickie glue pen right into that card and place it back down. There we go. It's funky, isn't it? So you can see now why I'm thinking putting brush strokes behind it would be cool. Go. What with the liquid chrome? Okay. Maybe. Let's give that a little press down for a second. So while that's doing that, very quickly, what time are we on? 5 minutes. Okay.
5 minutes gone.
Yeah, come on, 5 minutes. How quick can you do a design? Stamping platform is around here somewhere. Oh, you're going to have to grab that for me in a minute because there's still a heart stuck on my mat. Okay. So I'm going to use the grid on my stamping platform to help me position my stamp today. Thank you. I'll put that up there. Okay. So I'm using a 6-inch adaptable, and because I'm using my grid on here, it's essentially going to mean that I'm stamping upside down. So remember, this is now going to be the front of the card, so that is the right way up, not this way. Let's get me stamp. How quick do you think I can do this in? Not quick enough, he says not quick enough.
3.5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to line my brush stroke up so it's more or less on that 3-inch mark, and I'm going to go to the yellow. So I'm using Squeeze Lemonade, and it's a distress oxide so I can stamp with it. If you can stamp with distress inks, but you get a different type of impression. And I want something a bit more solid. So, there's one. Grab my cloth. And this is definitely going to be give it a good clean. So, next I'm going to pop that brush stroke and I'm going to rotate it so it's going the other way. Going to line it up on that 3-inch mark again. Close my lid, press it down, and this time I'm going for Mowed Lawn. I don't know if you want to be typing these up in case anybody misses the colours, given that I'm going to be going so quick. Okay. So I'm just going to give that another impression because I just want to make sure that it sticks down nicely. Okay. Cloth. How am I doing?
Minute and a bit.
Whoa, right. So that way up again. I'm gonna try and overlap it slightly so there's not so much of a gap. Tumbled glass. So I've left my strongest colour to last, just so I don't have to worry so much about cleaning it. So there's my tumbled glass. It's going to go on the floor, but hey ho. So because I've stamped with green, I want to make sure that all that green, blue and yellow is off before that red. Otherwise it's going to turn a lovely shade of brown. Okay, and the red is Candied apple. So rotate my stamp. Oh. Okay.
I think you're going to be finished at 12 weeks. You just have to overrun.
A little bit more pressure than what I should have put there, but hey ho. Yeah. Okay. Take that one out. Take that one off. We're nearly there. Oh, there's still a little bit of foil on that, but I can pick that up in a minute. So, let's go for my... Yeah, just because I know I can blob it on nice and quick. Okay. If you want to put any underneath that little fine heart, you can do. Just, I'm doing this for speed. So, there's my prism, yes, you said. There you go. So when that's all set, we can then score it and fold it and card done. Oh, nearly forgot my extra little heart, didn't I? And just pop that one just there. Ta-da! See, I can go fast when I want to. tomorrow when we may be doing print and cut, or if we can't get the printer to work properly, we will
Find something.
yeah, because we've got stencils to cut as well, haven't we? So we may do stenciling tomorrow. Okay, so take care, keep safe. Don't forget Lou's already started, so you can hop over to Junk Journals and see Lou. And yeah, that's it for today, isn't it? Being Tuesday. So take care and